Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. The knife I've got for you tonight's an interesting one. This one has a lot of history. It's been around for a long time. And it's a knife that, in doing some research on it, I've found to be very interesting. Now, how I come to this knife, my ex-father-in-law gave it to me. He found it at a yard sale, and I think he said he gave $5 for it, and used it as a diving knife because he dove at the time. Now, this knife was actually in production from 1966 till 2000. I'm sorry. And then they did a limited production run of 1,500 in 2002. And then in 2008, they started making it again, and they still make it, but it's a little different from this one. The knife that I'm talking about is the Gerber Mark II. This particular one here was made in 1968. And I'm going to refer to the internet because there's so much information on this, there's no way that I can keep it straight. To start out, this knife was designed by a United States Army captain named Bud Halsman, who based the pattern after a Roman gladius. The blade is 6.5 inches. It is a double spear point with a wasp blade, or a wasp-wasted blade, whichever way you want to say it. And what that means, if you look at it, it's wider here than it is down here. And that's what they're talking about with the wasp-wasted blade. The handle is very similar to that of a Fairburn Sykes fighting knife from World War II. This is not the original handle that came on this. According to what I found on the internet, they are very prone to these two pieces here breaking off. The handle that was on this originally, both of these had been broke off. Being as how it is a Gerber and they have a lifetime warranty on it, I said, excuse me, I sent it back to Gerber, and Gerber rehandled it. The handle is of the original shape and design. The only difference is the original handle. If you can see this little line here and this edge here, this piece here in the middle was gray instead of black. That's the only difference between this handle and the original handle. Shape and everything is identical, it's just the color is different. This one did have the blued blade, and from what I have found doing research, when these were sold to the military originally, they did come with a bottle of cold blue that you could blue the blade with to make it black, and apparently that's what's been done to this one. The serial number on this one puts this as being designed and being manufactured in 1968. There is a version of this, if you notice the blade on this is straight in regards to the handle. They did do a design that the blade was canted to one side, and supposedly that was a design to make the handle ride closer to the body instead of having just a straight handle. Now, let's get down into this. The first production run of this knife, according to the website, was designed with a 5-degree offset between the blade and the grip. This was designed, according to this, to make it ride in the sheath more comfortable and to give the user a grip similar to that of a fencing sword. The design led to a significant number of knives being returned because the users thought the blade was bent. And that is the reason why Gerber discontinued making that offset blade. It says here that in the 70s, a lot of military-based and post exchanges discontinued selling these knives. Reasoning that they were given is they were not in good taste or they were too brutal. And when working with Gerber as a knife designer, Elmar, added a sawtooth section toward the hilt, which the modern knives do have, marketing this knife as a survival aid instead of a combat knife, and making it more appealing to the PX and to the higher brass that way. So they resumed selling the Mark II as a survival knife instead of selling it as a combat or a fighting knife. Let me get to this other section. They used a lot of different steels when manufacturing this knife. Looking here at a page that breaks down all of the different knives over the years, this particular one was made in 1968. The serial numbers for 1968 were 5001 through 9900. They had the gray steel grip, which is what I was talking about with that. There was no offset. They had the narrow wasp blade, and they were forged from L6 modified steel. There were no serrations, had a brown leather sheath that was strapped for right hand carry, and they were marketed as a Mark II combat knife. As you can see with this knife, it's got the Alice attachment at the top. This is the original sheath for this knife. If you look at it, it's marked Gerber, Portland, Oregon, and then got the information on it from there. They now make this knife, it has the serrations here, does not have the narrow wasp blade. It's the same length from here, or same width, I'm sorry, from back here all the way to the front. And it comes with ballistic nylon sheath with a leg strap. From what I found doing my research, the actual tang stamp, let's see if I can get that for you. Get it tilted just right. There we go. The tang stamp changed over the years, and the sword changed directions, changed angles, changed designs, different things like that. There's a pretty good picture, if I can get it here, of the serial number. This is a 9321 is the serial number for this. It's hard telling what this knife has seen. I sent it to Gerber and had it rehandled. When I got it, about that much of the tip had been broke off of it. They recontoured, resharpened it, and sent it back to me, along with a certificate of authenticity saying that it had been reconditioned by Gerber. Sometimes, if we're doing special operations at work, I have made a custom ankle sheath for this that will go on to my right ankle just above the boot, and I've carried it there. Mostly, it spends most of its time in the drawer upstairs, and I don't use it for much. But I thought it'd be something interesting to throw out there. You don't see a lot of videos on the older ones, mostly on the newer ones. But, like I said, I thought I'd throw this out there and thought y'all might find it interesting. Well, if you have any questions, comments, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, and like I said, if I can keep coming up with stuff I can do, I'm going to keep putting out videos. Y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you later.